YouTube, it's me, Joe again. I'm actually starting a new little segment here called Joe's Thought of the Day. Anyways, sorry, I was kind of, Anyways, what it basically is I'm going to come up with something that makes me think or grinds my gears or upsets me or just a little anecdote, whatever it is, and I'm going to try to post it every day if I can. This first one, I think you guys will like. Okay, so I was giving some thought to what everybody's called, and this actually happened a few years ago. I have an adopted brother named Leon. He's, like 6'6" and skinny and black. And everybody called him African American, and he actually got offended by it because he did research on his family, and, he's actually Leon's, his last name's a French name. And, when he did research on his family and everything else, his blood family, they were French Creole from France. They were actually related to nobility in France, and they were really rich, and they never were slaves. As a matter of fact, they owned slaves. So he's not African American, and everybody always lists him as African American. And I always thought about that. So I started looking into it and stuff like that. Like white people are called Caucasian. When in fact, like me, I am not Caucasian. Hold on, let me get the definition real quick. A Caucasian is someone who speaks a Germanic language, which fair enough, English is a Germanically based language, but also lives at the foot of the Caucasian Mountains or has ancestry that lived at the foot of the Caucasian Mountains. In other words, Germans. Germans live at the foot of the Caucasian Mountains because, the Caucasian Mountains are in Germany. So I, being Irish and English, am obviously not Caucasian, but get ready for it, because this is a new term a lot of us white guys need to learn. European American. Okay, I'm not white, not Caucasian, I'm European American. And really, in the end, why I'm bringing this up is because I really don't care if I'm called white. Just like my brother didn't care if somebody called him black. But we get too atypical on how we want to, list certain people. 30% of black men in America have more European markers in their blood than African markers in their blood. Another 40% of African Americans don't even come from Africa. They come from Jamaica or parts of Rio de Janeiro and Australia, and that they're not all African Americans, and that's kind of like generalizing, like calling Latins. You call Mexicans Latins. You call and Latin means, again, someone who speaks a Latin-derived language. Arguably, English is German and Latin-derived. So, and Spanish people speak Mexican, or Mexican people speak Spanish, but they're not just Spanish, are they? Because they were Spanish, which are Latinos, but they're mixed with Native Americans, which aren't Latinos. They're Native Americans. Southern Native Americans and Central Native Americans, but still Native Americans, tribal. The Incans, Aztec, and so on. But then they want to call Puerto Ricans Latins. And what they don't understand is they still want to genreize like Italian people as Caucasians. But Italian people technically come from a country that speaks Latin-based language, because that's what Italian is. It's almost the same as Spanish. So shouldn't Italian people, even though their skin color is white, technically be called Latin? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is, again, because I grew up with a black brother, and my Aunt Carol married a black husband, and he is African American. But he never liked that term either. He's just a black American. And because the bottom line is, if you're born in America, regardless of what color this is, you're an American. So you can say I'm a white American, I'm a black American, I'm a brown American, I'm a yellow American, and I'm a red American. I think I covered all the colors, and that's about it. Because when you try to oh, I'm so proud of my heritage, then why don't you go live in that country? Yeah, I'm proud of being Irish. I'm proud of being European. I've got Irish mugs and stuff like that, and on St. Patty's Days, I'm running around going, kiss me, I'm Irish. But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter, and we put such an opposition on it, and we're so PC that we PC into actually being incorrect and unhistorically accurate. So, maybe we should think more about just treating each other decently than worrying about offending each other because we say the word black around a black guy. Which I know so many white people that do that. They're afraid to say the word black. It's like, what? Can you have that over there? What? The red one or the blue one? No, the darker one. That dark one over there. I mean the black one? The black one. Yes, the black one. Okay, here it is, because this shirt's colored black too. And too many people get wrapped up in things like that. So that's my thought of the day is, if you're going to think about your heritage and if you're going to present yourself as African American, then why don't you take the time to go, find out what your African heritage is? If you're going to present yourself as a European American, why don't you take the time to go find out about your European heritage? And if it's not important enough to find out about, then is it really important enough to label somebody as African American or European American or Caucasian or Latino, which now they're calling Latino anybody that's like Puerto Rican, and Puerto Rican's not Latino, they're Puerto Rican, or Puerto Rico, or Puerto Rican, because of the way they pronounce it. But nevertheless, if you're not passionate enough about it to go and find out about it and learn about it, which I am, I've gone and studied my culture, my heritage, because I am proud of it. I like it. I don't think it's better than anyone else, but are worse than anyone else's. Every culture, if you go back far enough, is screwed over another culture at some point in time, because it was African tribes that sold African people into slavery. Europeans screwed a lot of people over, but the Normans came over and screwed the Europeans first, or the Saxons. That would be originally what my people's culture would be called. Because the Normans came over, which were, eventually they became Germans, So, and then the Japanese screwed the Chinese, and the Chinese screwed the Japanese, and we sent, us Europeans threw a bunch of Australians down in Australia and left them for dead. And, Hawaiians got screwed over by missionaries. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And everybody screwed somebody. So, if you're going to honestly get into your culture enough and be passionate about it, then tell me, I'm African American, or I'm Native American, or I'm, European American, or I'm Caucasian, or I'm Latino, or I'm, Czechoslovak, whatever you want to call it. Well, that would be Caucasian anyway, Czechoslovakian. But nevertheless, if it's not important enough for you to research it, find out about it, practice the culture, then why do you give a crap what you're called? We generalize because we're people. We have to immediately, I'm not going to go, orange, I don't want to offend the orange guy over there, that orange book, that orange. No, I'm just going to say the orange book because it looks kind of orange, with the frog on it, Nevertheless, that's what I'm getting at is stop being afraid to say black around black people. If you're black, stop being afraid to say white around white people, because I've known a couple black people I don't want to offend. How's white going to offend me? And that's the description of my skin, because you can't say kind of a pinkish, palish, tannish, weirdish, because that's really what white people are. I'm actually, as you can see, really red because I'm Irish, and most of the time I look red all the time. So, the pigment of somebody's skin is that. We understand that you would call someone like me white. You would call someone like my brother black. You would call a Mexican guy, that brown dude over there. I don't call them Mexican because they could be Puerto Rican, or they could be Spanish, or they could be a bevy of other cultures, South American, and all the other countries down there that have nothing to do with being Mexican. So they call them Mexican. That's generalizing. To say the brown guy over there, well, no, he's brown. That makes sense. The yellow guy over there, he's Asian. That makes sense. He might be Oriental. He might be Japanese. He might be Chinese. He might be, South Korean, North Korean, Hmong. But nevertheless, he is yellow because we describe that skin color as yellow. We describe this skin color as white. We describe black as black. And that's just stating something. To be afraid of it is stupid. And to be upset because someone calls you black, or to be upset because someone of another race calls you white, or yellow, or brown, is just straight up ignorant. Let's get real. You cannot enforce, I'm African American, unless if you know you really are African American. You might be Haitian or Jamaican and not even have the African heritage. How about that one? Or you might be a Bermudan or South American. There's tons of black people in South America that their tribes have been down there forever. So we really need to look at what is logical. I understand we don't want to offend each other, but there is a difference between offensiveness and walking on eggshells. I'm not going to go, if I'm black, I'm not, a black guy shouldn't run around going, oh, you stupid cracker hick, blah, 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 blah. You shouldn't run around and go, oh, you stupid nigger, da, 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 da. Because those words offend and hurt people, and they do have derogatory meanings and statements throughout the centuries over, and it does offend people. But to get offended over descriptive words like black, white, and things like that is stupid. And to get so offended because people then refer to you as African American or Caucasian or any of those things is stupid. So, simply put, people grow up a little bit. We all have to use descriptive words to describe people, and you shouldn't be ashamed to use them, and you shouldn't be worried to use them. And that's been my thought of the day. You have to imagine a lot of smoke and explosions when that happens. See you guys.